When you hear the word knight, you probably imagine the fair Sir Lancelot, the shining paragon of noble knighthood, or perhaps the legendary Sir Siegfried, the epitome of strength and valor. But once I'm done, your face will join the great knights of legend. The noble world of knighthood wasn't a profession just anyone could joust into. It took grit, determination, and most importantly, focus! Got your attention now, do I? Guess you're not all that serious about becoming a knight. So why aren't you listening to me? You really want to be a knight? You want to stop polishing swords and start wielding one? Then listen up, because time and tide wait for no knight. Now that's what I like to see. Buckle up your chainmail, my dear, and grab your lance. It's time to embark on the knightly path. Now, what exactly was a knight? A knight is a person granted an honorary title of knighthood by a head of state. These chivalrous warriors pledged their service to the crown, the church, or the country. Their deeds earned them knighthood, a title that basically said, "Congratulations, you survived long enough to serve us some more." In medieval times, being a knight was like being a medieval superhero. High status, lots of wealth, feared in battle, and known for their chivalry. But being a knight wasn't just about dragon slaying, sword waving, and maiden saving. It took years of training with weapons and horses from childhood. Now's the time for a little history lesson. Soldiers on horseback had existed for millennia, such as the ancient Roman Ordo Equestris, an order of mounted nobles. However, our romanticized notion of medieval knights truly began with Charlemagne's reign. The first knights of the Middle Ages rode into the scene under Charlemagne, the king of the Franks. These mounted warriors quickly became the backbone of his military. Charlemagne's cavalry, rewarded with land grants for their service, swiftly evolved into a powerful knightly class. When chaos ensued after Charlemagne's reign, local lords clung to these knights like a lifeline, shifting power towards hereditary earldoms. By the 10th century, knighthood was well established. Knights held military titles and could be landholders. Nobles granted land, fiefs, to vassals in exchange for loyalty, protection and service, providing necessities like lodging, food, armor, weapons, horses, and money. Knights maintained their lands by providing military service for about 40 days a year. Experienced knights were highly sought after, and aspiring petty nobles needed significant military experience to succeed. But knights weren't always the paragons of chivalry we know today. In fact, clerics and the church often butted heads with knights over their charming tendencies to mistreat women and civilians. Saint Bernard de Clairvaux, for one, was convinced these knights were in league with the devil and in dire need of reform. By the 12th century, knighthood had become a distinct social rank, separating the non-noble milites, gregariae, from the true knights, milits nobiles. The term man-at-arms emerged to describe the fully armoured cavalryman, though not all men-at-arms were knights. Knights serving under another's banner were called knight bachelors, while those with their own banner were knight bannerets. After the First Crusade of 1099, the first military orders of knighthood appeared, the Knights of the Holy Sepulchre and the Knights Hospitaller, which were Catholic military orders. They were swiftly followed by other orders such as the Knights Templar and the Teutonic Knights. These orders, initially monastic groups protecting pilgrims, grew powerful over the next century with the conquest of the Holy Land. European legends, like those of the paladins and tales from the matter of France and Britain, popularized chivalry. The Crusades transformed knight from meaning servant to a member of an idealized warrior class, influenced by monastic orders and Islamic ideals of furusiyah, a knightly discipline and ethical code. These great European legends turned knights into the poster boys for the ideal Christian warrior, brave, chivalrous, and always ready for a quest. So we've gotten the when, what, and why down. It's time to move on to the how. Exactly how did you become a knight? Well, there wasn't a strict manual. Generally, the path looked a little something like this. Page. Here's where your journey begins. You'd start off as a page. Your training kicks off around age 10, sometimes as early as 7. Knights usually came from other knights, but don't worry if your dad's more into counting coins than swinging swords. By the time wars started getting messier, even merchant kids got a shot at the armor-clad lifestyle. If you were of noble blood, you might train at the royal court. But if your family wasn't rolling in titles, you'd head to the local castle or a relative's estate. Your glamorous duties included serving at tables, mucking out stables, doing menial tasks, and starting your education, which would ramp up as you hit your teenage years. Squire. At 14, you graduate to Squire, a knight's personal assistant. You'll master weaponry and horsemanship while enjoying the thrilling task of cleaning your knight's weapons, polishing his armor, and handling his horses. It's certainly not an easy job. Here's a perk before you get too discouraged. You get to boss around the new pages and play disciplinarian. But don't be too harsh on the poor dears, okay? Remember, you were one of them not too long ago. Your squirely duties also include brushing up on music, dance, and languages like Latin and French. Yes, you'll be reciting poetry and perfecting your manners, especially in front of the ladies during hunts or chess games. Your weapons training steps up a notch with heavier practice tools to bulk up those muscles. And the pièce de résistance. You get to follow your knight into battle. Your job is to ride ahead with the extra horses and baggage, hand your knight his lance and shield when the fighting starts, and follow him on another horse, ready to swoop in if his steed bites the dust. And if he's wounded, it's your duty to drag him out of there in one piece. The Accolade. After surviving the trials of squirehood, the final leap to knighthood awaited, typically between ages 18 and 21. Not everyone made it. Some squires veered into the church or law. Others simply couldn't afford the steep costs of horses, armor, and equipment. But if you did make the cut, you're ready for the grand finale, being knighted during a feast or holiday, like Christmas or Easter. Sometimes they'd even throw in a knighting at a noble's wedding. The night before the big day, you're dunked into a bath to wash away the grime, then dressed into a white outfit. Cue the all-night prayer vigil, where you're expected to stay awake contemplating your imminent knighthood with your arms resting on the altar. The next day, the big event takes place. Kneeling before the master of ceremonies, you swear an oath to uphold various knightly virtues. After this noble oath, the master of the ceremony gives you a ceremonial tap on the shoulders with a sword. Congratulations! You are now a proper knight. But this wasn't the only way to do it. In times of war, if you show some exceptional bravery, you might even get knighted on the spot by another knight. And now that the pomp and ceremony is done, you're now ready to ride off into battle, a brave warrior of the sword. This is also where our journey together ends. Take heart. You're more than ready to take on whatever challenge comes your way. Onward, brave knight, to glory and beyond! I'm sure he'll be fine.